Welcome to the Long Island Sound Podcast, where we explore the muse and the music, from the North Shore to the South Shore, from New York City to the Hamptons, navigating the wellspring of original music from singer-songwriters and musicians from Long Island, New York. Hi, I'm Steve Yusko from GigDestiny.com. Stay tuned as we explore the Long Island Sound. Listen up and lock in your attention. Have I got an episode for you today? Nico Padden is a fantastic singer-songwriter, very talented with an extremely beautiful voice. You'll be impressed by her enthusiastic work ethic. Her songs are both poignant and deep and very entertaining. She has some great tips on how to be successful in the music business, and she leads by example. Let's take a listen to Pirate Queen.
I will soothe your shattered little heart, and I will love all the worst parts, and I will hold your pain in my mouth, and I will speak until the words can come out of you. You have taught me what it is to care, and you have given so much more than what's fair. You reeled me in when I was overboard a long time ago. You stopped keeping score, keeping score. I will be your pirate queen. I will make sure you are seen. Sail in unnamed seas, and I will carve a place for you and me, and I will challenge anyone who tries to break us. We will leave those doubters in our wake, in our wake. I will be your pirate queen. I will make sure you are seen, and I will hold the very best parts of you to the light. I will be your pirate queen. When it comes down to the wire, when you're denied for being true, I will fly my freak flag higher and higher and higher, so you can wave yours too. I will be your pirate queen. I will make sure you are seen, and I will hold the very best parts of you to the light. I will be
I was introduced to Nico Padden by Rory Kelly, another fantastic guest on the podcast. I was told she has a big and gorgeous voice, and after listening to her music, this absolutely rings true. The Long Island waters have had their rum runners and pirates, but we lacked a pirate queen, at least until today. Nico Padden's songs celebrate the strength of the fierce, brave women in her life. She was born and raised in a musical family on Long Island, and Nico has built up a supportive local following. She tirelessly performed around the East Coast, relentlessly delivering her music. She is considered a true folk rock gypsy. Nico has performed everywhere from concert halls to farmers markets, living rooms to dive bars, backyards to street corners, coffee houses to fancy restaurants, and everywhere in between. Her music and voice have been compared to the likes of Alanis Morissette, one of my favorites, Brandi Carlile, and Carole King. Hey, welcome to the Long Island Sound, Nico.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's great. This is our first morning session.
Good morning.
So we'll see how we do. Actually, the energy is always better for me in the morning anyway. So so glad to have you. As I said, Rory busted my chops and said, hey, you don't have enough gals on this. So I was happy to get introduced to you. So you're number 4. So I have a fairly good balance of the genders so far.
Great. Amazing.
So tell me, so you come obviously in the bio from a musical family. Mm-hmm. So you were coerced to pick up an instrument. So give me some background on how it came about.
Sure. I would not use the word coerced, although my mom she was a school music teacher, and then she kind of got her administrative degree and went up the ranks and became the boss of all the music and art teachers in one school district in Farmingdale. So she was for sure very, very involved in arts and arts education. And she, on the side, was always a piano teacher, and she's also a professional church organist. Yikes. So my mom taught piano students in our house, so it was really sort of a no-brainer that we, her children, would also take piano lessons. So she did the first year for my older brother and myself, and then she realized it's really hard to teach your own kids piano because they don't really feel like it's an official lesson because it's your mom. So then she started getting us piano instructors, and so I, from that time, so I think maybe I was 4 when I began piano. So that was my first instrument. My father is a guitarist, not a professional, but just a very skilled amateur with a really good ear and a passion for music. My mom has the classical music side. Certainly in our home, lots of classical music was played. And then my dad was the rock, folk, pop. He was a big Beatles fan, Eagles, Simon Garfunkel, all those kinds of classic rock, classic folk singer-songwriters. And so I got, their 2 musical backgrounds as a big influence. 2
forceful pillars, supporting you. That's great.
Sure. Yeah.
It sounds like an interesting balance, the classical, and then I would say classical and casual, which is kind of cool. It's nice to have that yin and yang of music as a foundation. So let me ask you this: what are your favorite artists that influenced you?
That's so hard. I mean, I always say I like to listen to good music. I really truly love many things and many genres. So of course it started with my dad's CD collection, but I was a 90s kid, so I grew up with a lot of female singer-songwriters that I loved, like Alanis Morissette and Fiona Apple and Jewel. I loved, back in the 90s, I loved Ben Folds 5 and Dave Matthews Band. My preference is more towards real instruments rather than things that are created electronically. Not that I don't have respect for people who create music electronically. Certainly there's an art to that. For me, I love the sound of a real violin, a real guitar, etc. And then, currently in the past 20 years, since 2000, there's lots and lots of pop and rock and R&B and all kinds. I mean, it's just the way a song hits me. I love that song that Paul McCartney did with Rihanna and Kanye West. I mean, it's really what what inspires me when I listen to it. I love to go see orchestras play. I love to go to the opera. I love to see musical theater. I'm actually writing a musical. So it's really for me not about a particular genre as much as it is I really, really love beautiful music in many, many different forms.
Yeah, that's one of the things I notice about your music, having absorbed the past couple of days. And I really don't like to pigeonhole people into, oh, they're a country singer, they're a this singer, and so on and so forth. I think it's a kind of confining. One of the songs that really kind of jumped out at me, and we're not going to hear it today, so it's a teaser for our audience to go check it out. And it was the song you did, White Flag. Which you can find on Spotify and Apple and all the great places. And just as a side note, anybody we talk about or any of your links are going to be in the chapter marks of the podcast. So podcast listeners, really kind of take a look. You want to take a deeper dive into who we're talking about and these other songs, boom, go right to the chapter marks and you'll have a link to be able to jump to it. But I was listening to White Flag, and it's an a cappella piece. And I got a comment because it was like, it brought me to church, not the institution nor the building, but to a place of presence, and it was very remarkable and very, very touching to me.
Well, did you know we recorded it in a church?
Come on.
We did.
It did not.
Yeah, I wanted a room that was very live. I really wanted a lot of natural reverb. And so I convinced this priest that I knew to allow myself and 8 singers and a recording engineer to go and record there, and that's what we did. And then that recording with those 8 singers, one of the gals who sang the soprano part gave it to her high school choral director. He did it with his chorus, and then from there, the video kind of went viral in some choral director groups on Facebook, and that piece has been sung by choirs across the United States and Canada.
Amazing. It's amazing.
And they paid me for it. I mean, amazing.
That's even better.
I know that it's been stolen too. That's a thing that happens with sheet music.
Yeah,
shame on those people. But I have been paid for choirs to sing like a real composer. It's very fancy.
That is so cool. And that's what, one of the reasons for the Long Island Sound podcast is really to put another platform out there for people to discover. I'm discovering things that I never would have heard. I listen to WFUV all the time, which gives me a good mix of different genres. But I would never run into Rory Kelly or you or other people. And I'm telling you, and I've used this term before, Long Island has such a wellspring of talented people. And if this can be a platform to help expose the art, it's great. You never know where it's going to end up. So what I'm going to see is if I'm going to look up that YouTube video of the choral work, and we'll plug that into a chapter more.
The one that was like a little viral, which was really great, was there was this group in Winnipeg, Canada called the Winnipeg Youth Chorus or Winnipeg Youth Choir, and they sang it on their summer tour a couple of years ago. I think was at a place called Peace by Chocolate. I could send you a link to it.
Right, cool.
It's a very sweet video of these teenagers singing it. It's very cool.
That's really neat. So I'm interested between the time in your life when you have these influences from mom and dad, and then you take the direction of your life. So did you study music in school? I mean, how did things come about for you?
So I got really involved in high school with doing musical theater, and then I got involved with a voice teacher who really wanted me to be an opera singer. That was his path, and he felt that my voice, he could really make me a star at the Metropolitan Opera. And our relationship was a little messed up. Like if you imagine the relationship in that movie about the jazz drummer, what's that movie called?
Yeah. Oh, I know the one you're talking about. I love that movie, and of course I can't remember it, but yeah, that was freaky.
It was very dysfunctional.
Right.
And he believed in my voice a lot, but it was a very dysfunctional relationship. And so I went into studying to be an opera singer really out of his desire. So I went to a music school that's pretty, well known for music. It's Ithaca College. I studied classical vocal performance. That was the track that I was on. When I graduated college in 2007, the plan was that I was going to take a gap year, study with my teacher here on Long Island several times a week, really intense, and audition for what you do as an opera singer. The next step is to get a master's degree in vocal performance. And then you go on and you do apprenticeships with opera companies, etc. But during that time, I started to really get more honest about what I wanted from my life, and I read this really pivotal book called The Artist's Way, which was huge for me and seminal. And after reading The Artist's Way, I really had a large realization that I did not really want to be an opera singer for my life, that I really wanted to sing music that I had written myself, and that I really was interested in exploring other genres and other things. And so I broke up with that voice teacher. It was very dramatic.
Gotcha.
And then I actually took a year off. I took a year off of singing. I was doing some other things. I was teaching theater at the Merrick Theater and Center for the Arts. I was teaching acting and playwriting, and then they were like, you have this degree in vocal performance, maybe you could teach some singing. I was like, okay, fine. And these little kids with their enthusiasm and their passion would come into my classroom and say, Miss Nico, are we going to sing today? And I would, kind of go, oh, right, singing is fun. And so that was when I started to go to some open mics, and I started to remember that I had written songs as a teenager that I hadn't really shown people, and I started to kind of reclaim that piece of my musical self. And that's when I started playing my original music at open mics. I started, going around with a friend who played guitar, and I would sing and he would play, and then I started to get better. I was always okay at guitar, but I started to really practice and take lessons and get better at guitar and start playing my original music out, and then that kind of really took off from there. And then I did not release my first EP of original music until 2013. So it took me a couple of years to sort of develop that aspect, because I had spent all of this time and all of this energy developing as an opera singer, and I had taken lots of theater classes while I was at Ithaca, so I had this kind of theater thing that I was doing sort of in the background. But I was developing my songwriter identity at that time. And then it, has resulted in me writing things and recording things and releasing things and all of the stuff that's followed.
So that's when you became the Pirate Queen. I
suppose that was her
the pivotal moment.
Yeah.
Break up with the opera coach and become a pirate.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about the first song that we heard on the lead in Pirate Queen. Tell me about that, how that came about, and it's part of an album. So let us know.
Pirate Queen was the nickname that some of my friends / very devoted fans, like friends, if you will, had begun to sort of refer to me as. There was a popular open mic in Valley Stream, and I would attend it. I would play gigs at that coffee house. It was called Sip This. It actually closed in COVID, unfortunately. But that group of people, my fans began to call me, I don't know how it emerged, the Pirate Queen of the Misfit Toys. My friends are usually sort of an unusual amalgamation of people who are unique and different and interesting and weird. And so I became, I don't know how, the Pirate Queen of the Misfit Toys, and I really got interested in that idea of what is a pirate queen? How is a pirate queen different than a regular pirate
or a regular
king?
Queen, right?
Or a regular queen, right?
A lot of directions you can go with that.
Yeah, so many directions. So I started reading about pirate queens from history. I started reading about Grace O'Malley from 16th century Ireland and what she did. And, she's certainly somebody who defies gender conventions, but she's also someone who, as a woman, is going to be protective of people, maybe in a way that men would not think to be. Mm-hmm. My thought about my relationship with those friends and those fans is that I am going to be my loudest, weirdest, sort of most unusual self, unabashedly, with a lot of bravery and without shame or fear, and that what I create is an umbrella for everyone else to do the same. And that's really what I want my music to be about, and it's really my whole ethos of everything that I do. All the music students that I teach and all the fans that are fans of my music, and even I host an open mic now, and what I'm trying to create is this umbrella for people to safely express themselves and be who they are. And so to me, that's what a pirate queen really is, because the world sometimes isn't so friendly to that. The world sometimes says, live inside this cookie cutter of what you're supposed to be. And I think that a lot of people feel that pressure to live inside a particular set of directions of how you're supposed to do life. And I just want to give people a little bit more room,
You know what's interesting, and I've heard this. You're the third musician that I've interviewed that truly has a mission statement that they live by with their music. I don't know if you know Mike Nugent. You know,
I do, yeah.
Mike's a great guy, and Mike. One of the things Mike said to me very early on is, is basically I'm here to bring happiness, and joy. And then Rory certainly has a mission statement as well, and you're the third one. And I'm telling you, just from the energy, it makes a difference, and it shows the passion for what you do and what you create. And
I think it's different too if an artist is thinking about how they can serve and how they can be of service to others rather than about them. As I think art can really be this beautiful thing where you help other people have some kind of catharsis or some kind of balm or some kind of comfort or some kind of getting in touch with their feelings and having a good cry. Like, that's a service. And I think that when an artist is self-centered and just thinking about how they sound and how they look, not that I don't think about how I sound or how I look, sure, of course, but when that's the focus, then it's not, then the audience isn't going to connect to it as much because it's all about you. It's not about them. I think that the best art is truly about the audience, and certainly the art from the artists that I love the most, that's what they do. That's
yeah.
how I connect.
It can be the unintended consequences. It's very confining. And let's do this. I want to take a quick break, and when I come back, I want to talk about the Muse, how you approach music. I want to get into the second song, and I'm really interested on how you create. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Hi, Steve Yusko from Gig Destiny here. Well, as you're probably listening to this podcast, you're probably thinking about that musician who would make a fantastic guest here on the Long Island Sound. Well, we'd like to hear their story. We'd like to hear their music. So have them reach out to us at gigdestiny.com and we'll explore their craft. Now, back to our podcast. Hey, everybody. We are back with Nico Padden, and I'm really enjoying our conversation, and I'm always curious. You have such an interesting background and perspective on music, and it's very refreshing, to be honest with you.
Oh, I'm glad.
And I believe the audience is always curious on how you approach the craft or the muse to create the songs that you sing. So tell me about it.
Well, for me, it always starts with something that I can't define. There's always the impulse that comes from somewhere, I don't know where. I don't exactly know what I believe in, God or the universe or goddess or the great beyond, something that I tap into, that I feel connected to. Like, let's just say if I go to the beach and I look at the ocean and it's so much bigger than I am, that makes me feel small in a good way. Like that there's something bigger spiritually in the universe that I can connect to, and that is usually where the impulse begins, is that I've got a feeling about something, a stirring about something, an inkling about something, and I'll just, a melody will appear in my mind as though dropped from somewhere. I have no idea where. Often it'll happen for me like early in the morning, like right when I wake up. Sometimes it'll happen if I'm driving. Lots of like kind of not super mindful activities, like driving I can really do on autopilot. So that kind of autopilot activity, if I'm cleaning the floor or if I'm, walking the dog, something like that, where you don't have to think too hard and your brain can just kind of wander. I'll get a melody and I'll begin with one little melody. Usually that's the hook of the song. It'll just drop into my head, and that is my job then, to get to the piano, get to the guitar, get to the instrument, and then develop it. And mostly how I do it is I sing it over and over again, and then I sing sometimes lots of bad lines, lots of things that are not going to make the cut. And you really have to write from a place of not editing at first. If you're editing when you're writing, you're gonna never gonna write a song.
100% agree. So would you say, and most of the time it's the music first and then the lyrics, or do you have?
For me, it's always the melody and the words together. They're like, that's how the impulse begins with a hook that is words and melody.
So are you a sole proprietor on your music and lyrics, or do you collaborate?
No collaboration. Just
all right, it's
me.
all you, baby. All right.
Yeah. just me. And then I work to develop it, and I work to finish it, and of course I've done some things working on learning about song structure, and so what kind of song structure do I want to use? How do I want to develop this, and that's something that writing my musical I've kind of worked on, because musicals have some different structural things about them than pop songs, and so how do I develop this? And that's where the sweat really happens.
Now, yeah, I spoke to one guest, a guy named Nelson Montana, and he's a producer and a singer and great guy, and he his position is arranging is a big part of the lift to create
absolutely.
a song. Is that something you take control of as well, or do you bring it to the studio and say, this is what I've got planned out, and now help me kind of expand on it? How do you approach it?
I'm pretty opinionated, and I would say 80% of the arranging is me going, this is how I want to have it be done. Okay. And then certainly Kevin Kelly, who is my recording collaborator, I've worked with some other collaborators as well, will come up with an amazing idea and say, what about adding this, or what about adding that? Or I'll say, I'm thinking about these things, what do you think? And then we get great musicians to, play instruments that I don't play, like mandolin, or Kevin actually played some great rock organ on some of the songs on my album. So, it's certainly, I do collaborate somewhat in terms of arrangement, but for the most part, I know in my mind what I want it to be and how I want it to be, and I would say I'm mostly in charge of it.
Interesting. So let's talk about our second song, Mother and Father, and introduce that. Give me some little background, and then we'll let our audience get a gander at it.
So I lived with my grandmother for the last 5 years of her life, from 2012 to 2017. And then when I got married, my husband moved in with us. It was a sweet arrangement. It was like Three's Company, but with a 98-year-old woman. And when she passed away, I really strongly felt how precious it is to have the people that are your blood with you, and how important it is to savor that time. And I think a lot of people that I know who are my age, have a resentment or things that they wish their parents had done differently, etc. And certainly it's not that I don't have any of those things, but I think that when my grandmother died, I realized how much I would miss my parents when they're gone, and so that impulse came from the idea of, wow, like my parents have given me so much of who I am. I have from my mom this strong classical music background, and also I'm like a dog with a bone. I just won't stop until I get what I want. That's my mom. Also, she's a real performer. She loves everyone to look at her, and obviously, here we are. That's what I do. And my dad is this person who will sit in a corner and have a thoughtful, deep conversation with one person for the whole party. And I have that too. If you don't have that, you're not a songwriter, True, right. There are people who are just performers and not songwriters because they don't want to, I want to be alone writing a song a lot more than a lot of normal people. And that's definitely, my dad will sit around and write a story about a family of pigeons. Who even knows? He is very thoughtful and deep. So, so the two of them, that's how I became a singer-songwriter, and how I became a singer-songwriter in the genres where I am. So so much of who they are and their personalities and certainly all of the blood, sweat, and tears that they gave to try to, everything about what they've done is to try to make their children's lives good,
Wow, that's
and
great.
So that is where the impulse came from, is I am the two of them, and I want to appreciate them while they're here,
Wonderful. So let's take a listen to Mother and Father, and then we'll be right back.
My mother, she takes over every room. She is made of rocket fuel. She is my mother. My Father, He is poetry and stillness. He is made out of forgiveness. He is my Father. And everything I am, I stole from them. Every play in my book, every chorus, every hook, everything I am, I stole from them. And I have taken more than my share of second chances, and the grace that I've been granted, I don't deserve it, but I'll use it. I'll take this stardust I've been given, I will shape it into a vision of love and care. And everything I am, I stole from them. Every play in my book, every chorus, every hook, everything I am, I stole from them. I stole from them. Every play in my book, every chorus, every hook, everything I am, I stole from them. My Father, He knows just what I am saying, but His eyes are tired of fading, slowing down. And my mother, no, she won't be here forever, so I will be sure to remember to listen well. And everything I am, I stole from them. Every play in my book, every chorus, every hook, everything I am, I stole from them. Yes, everything I am, I stole from them.
Hey, everybody, we're back. What a great song. Really so nice to have you honoring your parents in song. It really makes it eternal, which I think
they love it. Every gig that they come to, my mom's like, "You gonna play the song about me?" And notice she's like, "The song about me, not the song about Dad and me."
Right. Because, Dad's just, Dad's had a small contribution to your life. Mom's really, as my wife tells my daughter Faith, the amount of hours of labor expand every year from, 15 to 28. So tell me about what, what I was really impressed by in your bio. I mean, you've played everywhere and you really sound like a hardworking lady out there. So tell us about what do you have coming up? Where do you play? What do you do when you're not teaching, So I have 2 original music gigs that are coming up. The first one is a songwriter round. I started this series at Mr. Beery's in Bethpage. It's a songwriter round night, and it's on Sunday nights, and it's, myself, and then I get 3 other songwriters, and we do like a Nashville style where everybody sits on a bench, and we just go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and we go around a couple times. I love that because you really get to hear different songwriters and their different craft of their songs, and it's such a nice vibe for everybody to be on stage together. So that's Sunday, June 5th. At Mr. Beery's. I think the doors are going to be at 7:30, and it's a no cover but pass the hat gig for the songwriters. So wonderful.
Would love to have some folks come and hear some good songs. I'm going to be with some songwriters that I like, Mike Longo and Pete Mancini and Ann O'Rourke. So that's going to be a fun night. And then I am going to be playing with my semi-full band. Actually, Rory Kelly plays bass for me, and my friend Mark Rouser is going to be playing some percussion, and we are going to be doing a night of original music at the Merrick Library. That is going to be on Thursday, June 30th.
Excellent.
I think that is at 7 p.m. and it's going to be outdoors at the Merrick Library. And I will attempt to play the entirety of Pirate Queen. I think that's going to be the set list.
And we're happy to put all the events up on gigdestiny.com. We'll talk about sharing a Google Calendar where you can put all your stuff up.
Amazing.
And
there's one more.
All right, I'll let you go, and then I'm going to tell you how small of a world it is in a moment.
Amazing. So the third one is that I'm going to be playing at the Pine Barrens Jam, which is a big Long Island music festival. That is going to be on Saturday, August 20th at the Blue Point Brewing Company. It's a multi-stage music festival. I'm going to be on the Travis McKeveny songwriter stage. And I don't know what time I'll play, but I will be playing full band, and it's going to be awesome.
Excellent. Now, it's a small world because I was in Boy Scouts Troop 159 with Stephen Beery. And he was my big protector.
Get out. Oh,
no
my
shit.
Goodness.
No
that
shit.
is funny.
I know him well. So
yes.
when you talk to Stephen Beery, and hopefully I can make it to your performance there, he'll tell you some stories. Yeah, that's how old I am, and I'm an old man.
He's a big supporter of Long Island local music.
Absolutely, and they're few and far between. So we always so now that you know him, you've got to throw some guilt out there because I really want him to be a guest. I could probably do 10 podcasts with him. He could tell a lot of stories.
Yes. All right. Let's get Mr. Beery on your show.
So thank you for sharing all those things. We'll have all those events up on gigdestiny.com. Happy to share it with everybody. Let's talk about the third song, Burning Rome to the Ground. Tell me about that, and we'll jump into that song.
Sure. So Burning Rome has 3 verses. The first impulse of that song came when I was driving home from a music conference where I won't name any names, but there is a man who bothers some of the young ladies at this conference and in this community. And I spoke up and reported him to the president.
Good for you.
Because he's he's a person who is older, who spends a lot of time bothering women who are 20 to 30 years younger than he is. And, when you're a young woman at a conference, you are very much trying to get yourself in front of bookers. And some people who have some booking power will say, oh, I can get you this gig, and I can get you that gig, and I can help you in such and such way. And then when they take it to a place where in order for you to be getting some of those things that you want from the person, they want certain things from you, it's really not cool. So, I definitely have really good antenna for that type of bullshit. And so I have nothing to do with this guy, but I'm really concerned about young women who don't know him. And certainly we female musicians, there's the idea of a whisper campaign. Like, I can tell every female musician I know, hey, stay away from so-and-so. He is not what he says. He's a groomer who's going to try and take advantage of you. That is exactly what he is. He's a groomer. He is, going to try to tell you that he's going to get you some performance opportunities that he's not going to get you. That's
probably a little bit of narcissism tied in there.
Just totally yucky and gross.
Good for you.
I am worried about young women who maybe don't have as good antenna as I have for that sort of thing, and I don't want anybody to be put in a situation where they are uncomfortable. So I reported him to the president of this organization, and I was driving home, filling my gas tank, and I was like, ooh, I'm burning Rome to the ground. And that was where the hook came from, and that was where that impulse came from. And so I'm the second verse. That's me, about my story of learning to find my voice. That's a whole nother podcast. We could take an hour about me learning to find my voice with creepy men in the music industry. Well, I won't do that. The first verse then came later, and I wrote it about a friend of mine in college who was it started as an emotionally abusive relationship. It became a physically abusive relationship. My friends and I had to take her to the police to get a restraining order. It was a whole big to-do. And so the first verse is her story of getting herself out of that physically abusive situation. Wow. And then I was looking for something, because I wanted it to be this feeling of females.
Empowerment.
Women coming together to break down things about the system that aren't working so well. And so I was, doing a little research and thinking about, okay, like, what women in current culture or in history could I kind of draw from? And I stumbled upon this group of women called the Mothers of the Movement. And it's this group of 7 Black women, all of whose children were killed at the hands of police. And they are basically responsible for beginning the Black Lives Matter movement.
Okay,
and I
great.
thought, wow, they're super, powerful, and they have done a lot of media things and have been really instrumental in organizing. And so that is where the third verse came from, is from these women who've had this most unimaginable, unthinkable tragedy that is totally could be prevented. And have come together in this big activist way. That's so beautiful.
Well, you've given us a lot to digest about the song. So let's jump right into it, and we'll be right back after Burning Rome to the Ground.
Took a deep breath, won't leave the keys in the door. Make sure she has what she needs. She won't come back anymore. He had a taste from violence, and she was done playing mouse. No longer scared of the silence, giving in to doubt. She's burning Rome to the ground. 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 I was done being used by unreliable friends, taking my share of abuse from despicable men. I took a deep breath and I opened my mouth. I said enough is enough. I told them over and out. I'm burning Rome to the ground. 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 They reached out for each other through unthinkable pain. The pain that only a mother could ever know or sustain. They said our children are dying, and they will not be in vain. They said we won't stay silent. We will keep screaming their name.
Hey everybody, we are back. Burning Rome to the Ground has a lot of aspects to it. It's very deep. It has some different meaning for me. For those who know me will know why. It's amazing what a song can do, where it can become somewhat a screenplay in your mind, you know. So and you bring attention to people doing good work, doing God's work, really, to be honest with you. So thanks for telling us about what you got coming up. I really want, I'm telling you, I don't say this about every guest, you got to discover Nico's music, because it's absolutely the coolest music that I've heard in a while.
Thank you.
And it's very refreshing, and it's Americana. I can't even put my finger on it. I don't know, I'm kind of rambling here, but I really enjoy your music, and I have to discover more of it as I drive around and work at my real job.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
I end my podcast this way, and a good friend told me this. He said, you know, we can account for what we have in our bank accounts, what we own. We can never account for how much time we have on this earth, and the fact that you gave me an hour of your time, it's much appreciated. So,
aw, thanks.
All right.
I was very happy to do so.
Give me some other guests. I'd love to have you back, and I'll see you out and about playing your live music. Maybe I'll go to Mr. Beery's.
Yeah, come see Mr. Beery.
All right. Until next time, take care, everybody.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate the time you spent with us. Please subscribe and comment, and visit us at gigdestiny.com. Till next time, be generous with your joy, keep your spirits high, and let the music take you on a journey. Be well. Peace.